Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the West Ham Weekly. Thank you all for joining me on this miserable Tuesday night. I just want to start off by saying at 7:30 tomorrow morning, I'm going to be meeting a number of people. The sheep shagging, bad shirt wearing David Wiggy, the Polish bricklayer Mark Windowski, the man who blew up my electrics when he tried to fix a light bulb, Paul Handyman Peters, with his trusty sidekick, but who was more interested in his record collection, Gary, or in my record collection, I should say, Gary. Steve and his son, Daniel. Lee, Paul's better half. Thank God, someone with a good mind is coming along, and Kim. They're all going. We're all meeting at 7:30 tomorrow morning at King's Cross, St Pancras, for the journey from London to Frankfurt. We're on our way for what's going to be a monumental, momentous, and fantastic semi-final second leg against Eintracht Frankfurt. But more about that later. So anyway, hello to you all. You all better be watching because I did say I'll give you a shout out. Anyway, what have we got on tonight? We got quite a few stories, so I'm going to crack through them because, as you know, if I don't go through them quickly, my shows go on for at least 3 hours, and we don't want to do that because I've got to go to bed early tonight. Um, First of all, I'm going to talk about the couple of games that we played. Okay, not the best of results that we wanted. Going to talk about some player updates, a bit of news on players, contracts, player fitness, injury news, and so on. And then I'm going to look at the Frankfurt game in a little bit more detail. But let's just start off with the recent game. And as we all know, we lost our last game thanks to not because Arsenal played any good, but thanks to this man. As we all know, it's always about him, and he proved it again at the weekend. So we lost 2-1, and then we lost the first leg against Frankfurt 2-1 as well. So we haven't had the sort of best of run-ins, but all of a sudden, people are talking about failure. People are talking about, because we've had a few, we haven't won a game since Everton, I think it was. People are talking about how this season is just turning into a little bit of failure, and it's all doom and gloom and so on. We're in the month of May, and if you asked any West Ham fan at the beginning of the season, would you like to still be in the semi-finals of the Europa League competition and still vying for sixth position in the Premier League? Many of them would have bitten your hand off, and many of them would have actually laughed at you and would have thought, my God, you must be smoking drugs or something like that. But here we are in the month of May, and we are still within a shout of the Europa League final. And if we win that, we could be playing Champions League next season, and we are still within a shout of getting top six in the Premier League. All right, top four's gone. I know that. We all know that, and it was one of those things. But we've had some great occasions, though, haven't we? We had the great win against Lyon to really show that we can actually do something in this competition, and I think that we're going to potentially do something quite momentous in Frankfurt on Thursday night. Yeah, I'm always the confident, but half glass full rather than half glass empty. Like a few other channels have been coming out over the past few weeks and going doom and gloom and slagging the players off and slagging the manager off, etc. We're in the month of May. We're in the semi-final second leg of the Europa League, and we're still within a shout, quite possibly, of making Europa League through the league. And at worst, we'll end up playing in the Europa Championship next season. I'll take it. But we've got to do a few things. We've got to have a few players right on their game on Thursday night. Antonio, we know he struggled. We know he got the goal against Frankfurt last week, but we know in general he's been struggling. And of course, the worst thing that could possibly happen to us at this time of the season was having one defensive injury after another. First, we lost Zuma, then we lost Diop. Zuma's kind of come back. Diop was on the bench at the weekend. So hopefully we've got enough strength in our defence to actually do something on Thursday night. Why not? Um, We might say, and many people are saying, if only we had added a few more players in the January transfer window, we would have been stronger, we would have been better, and we wouldn't have had all these problems. But in all honesty, yeah, I wanted players to come into the January transfer window as well. But who could tell if any of them would have actually done anything different to what we've got? Maybe a little bit of strength in depth, maybe, but you just can't tell. Look, the Premier League. What confuses me about people sort of talking about the league, about our season being over and our season being, sort of like down in the dumps and rubbish, etc., is that you've got to look at where we are in Premier League history. Premier League is in its 30th season. Since its inauguration, we've been involved in it, including this season, 26 seasons. We weren't there in the first season, and we were relegated a couple of seasons throughout it. In those 26 Premier League years, we've only ever finished 10th or above 12 times. And our best, I guess, our most successful period was 97 to 2000, when in 3 seasons in a row, Harry Redknapp took us to 8th, 5th, and 9th place finishes. So, in general, to be quite honest with you, we've been a bit of an average team in a way in the Premier League. So, what gives us the right to be expecting Champions League and finishing top four, etc., etc.? Just because we've had a season, nearly 2 seasons of really a really good run, and let's not forget in Europe as well. We haven't been that great either for 40 odd years. Anyone remember Astra Gurju a few seasons ago? Look, there's all to play for in this the end of this season. We've still got a number of games to go. We can still finish strong in the Premier League. We could still get to the Europa final. Not still, I think we will. And I think those who are doing an awful lot of doom and gloom should really take a hard look at themselves and just see how far we've come. Let's not forget, 2 seasons ago we were almost relegated from the Premier League. Now we're riding high. We're going to finish in the top 10, probably the top 6 again, 2 seasons in a row. And I think that's just fantastic. Right, let's see who's in the chat and say hello to you all first. Let's get rid of that. Who's in the chat tonight? Let's scroll right up to the top. Good evening, Richard. How are you, mate? Nice to see you. Good evening, Chris. How are you? Tom Berry, how are you, mate? Thanks for joining. Good evening, James. Thanks for your messages. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Howard. Good evening, Dom. I hope you're well. Steve WHU, how are you, mate? I hope you're well as well. Jovi, Daniela, how are you? Nice to see you here. Good evening, Adam. Good evening, Mr. Barrett. How are you? Sarif, good evening to you. Galispera to you as well, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Dabs. How are you? Apparently, Rice wants to stay next season because he wants to be the club captain. Could have told you that ages ago. I'm going to talk about Declan a little while later on. James, good evening to you as well. Richard, Mike Dean, so pleased that Custard Chucker is retiring. Yeah, can't retire soon enough. Good evening to you, Anil. I don't know who I hate more, Arsenal or Mike Dean. Get it out of my system. Well, continue to hate Arsenal because Dean is retiring. Good evening, Garino. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Mike Dean is a nutter twat. We'll talk a little bit about him later on as well. Dom, this season will never be considered a failure amongst real West Ham fans. Great season. Absolutely 100% agree with you, mate. It has been an absolutely fantastic season and it ain't over yet. Steve, I've heard that the Big Six are going to give Dean a testimonial. They're going to be upset he's gone. I like that one. WHU, hello, mate. I hope you're well. Daniela, everyone out there thought West Ham would finish around 10th this season and we will not be able to handle the European football. So we proved a lot of people wrong, haven't we? Absolutely spot on. And you look at other teams that have been in Europa League, or European football and trying to do well in the Premier League as well. Wolves, Leicester, etc., etc. They've kind of not been able to manage to keep the momentum going, and they both have bigger squads than we have. Garino, for me, Antonio on the left makes sense as he can put in some good crosses from the left. Bone on the right adds pace down both wings. The only curveball would be to play a false number 9 in Vlasic. I'm going to talk about what our tactics should be in the game against Frankfurt a little bit later on. Garino, Ryzen Soucek, his height will be crucial on crosses and with instructions to stay forward. And Fornals in centre midfield. Yarmolenko I'd keep as an impact sub, as I doubt he would last a full 90 minutes anyway. And I'm going to talk a little bit about him as well, because he played for the under-23s earlier on this week. Good evening, English. Volker, good evening to you. I'm a pessimist by nature, but I've got a good feeling about the return leg. Exactly, mate. Exactly. Jim Hardy, hello, mate. How are you? Astrophos, hello, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Tom, Didn't have a problem for Lyon or Seville. Exactly. That's why we'll talk about it later. Good evening, Crosshammer. How are you, mate? Right, let's go. Let's get on with the show and let's get into the first part of the show, shall we? Okay, games to talk about, two defeats in the past week, both 2-1 losses. But let's just get on with them. Let's get them out of our system and move on, shall we? Look, last Thursday we hosted the European semi-final for the first one in 46 years, and strangely enough, history was repeating itself where it was Eintracht Frankfurt that we were playing against. Right, Frankfurt. We know they took a narrow lead. They won 2-1. But is history going to repeat itself again? And are we going to go out there and beat them 3-1? Look, the only difference is that we're going to have to do it the hard way this time round. Whereas, 46 years ago, we played the first leg at home and we played the first leg away and we played the second leg at home. Whereas this time round, it's reversed. But you never know. Why can't we do what the lads did 46 years ago and beat them even on their own turf? Someone just mentioned we did very well out in Seville. We did very well in Lyon. Why can't we do it again? The momentum's there for a way. Maybe I think ironically we got a little bit of stage fright last Thursday. This is new territory for us. It was new ground for us to break, and maybe. The fact that Frankfurt started off quickly and started off strong just caught us off guard a little bit. The lineups were announced, and I guess it was one surprise. Zuma, we were speculating last week, are we going to have anyone else in defence apart from Dawson, or what's David Moyes going to do? Is he going to play Creswell and Johnson as right wing, as centre backs, etc.? But we saw that Zuma started. But ironically, despite the fact that we had Zuma and Dawson, it still looked like we kind of played. I don't know. It looked like a strange sort of back three. It looked like it was a more of a sort of a tight back five in a way. And I just wondered at the time whether that was because we were trying to compensate for the fact that Zuma wasn't exactly match fit. Um, Look, we didn't start well. It was obvious we didn't start well. We knew it's a really bad start. Within the first minutes, Fornals lost his marker, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, now for Knauf, as he's called, got in behind Fornals and scored the first goal in the first minute. That made the whole crowd quiet. It shocked us all. We were all still settling into our seats and so on, and it was something that it kind of set us back a little bit. And when as this game was sort of going on, you were looking at what was happening, and you could see that Zuma was definitely rusty. I mean, he hadn't played for a while. He was thrown in at the deep end, and maybe that's why he had, like I said a moment ago, he had a little bit more defensive cover. But you know what? You know what gives me heart, despite losing the game 2-1, is the number of efforts we had. 15 efforts, and we hit the woodwork 3 times. Yeah, okay, they hit the woodwork once as well. But, creating so many chances when we were certainly not at our best was something really, really encouraging. And I think going out there on Thursday night, and maybe creating even half those chances, if we take them better, what will happen. Look, then we moved on to the weekend, and of course we were playing Arsenal, and one of those teams where it was the game. The game itself was horrible. It was one of those games where Arsenal weren't really much better than us, and yet again they managed to beat us. They beat us. What was it? They last time they came here, they drew 3-3 when we were beating them 3-0. They had one of the worst teams Arsenal could put out a few seasons ago, and they beat us 3-1. And it was quite a feeble performance against them in a way. And the last time we actually won was when this man scored the only goal at the London Stadium when we beat them 1-0 a few seasons ago. So it wasn't great. It wasn't great. We saw the lineup, and there were 5 changes that were made to the team that went out against Frankfurt at last Thursday. Fabianski was back in goal. Zuma had his second game. Fredericks was brought in, which was interesting. Does that say a lot about Masuaku, or is Masuaku being saved for Thursday night? Well, you never know. Declan Rice lined up alongside Noble, and you could see some of the other changes that were made as well. Ben Johnson was missing from the lineup, and I'm going to talk about him later on as well. Apparently, he's got a thigh strain, and it's 50-50 as to whether he's going to make the game on Thursday night. Look, as I said, Arsenal didn't outsmart us. Arsenal didn't play better than us. Arsenal, ironically, took the chances that we would normally take, but Bowen, in between the two chances, got a great equaliser. And I just thought, even at that moment, I thought that we would actually stay in the game and we would actually get a point out of it. But it wasn't to be. It was a shame, but it shows how much we've really become reliant on this man to score goals and make goals. That was his 16th goal in all competitions this season, and on top of that, he's made 11 assists, which is an absolutely fantastic effort. And you can see why other teams are looking at him. He's a fantastic prospect, Bowen, and he's only going to get better and better. The one thing that we didn't like about Arsenal, I think, was they started to do the tactics that you would not expect them to do. Started to go down and sort of roll around as if they were, as if they had their legs blown off and so on. And it was frustrating because Mike Dean, I said I'm going to talk about him. Mike Dean did absolutely nothing to stop them time wasting. Look at him. He just grinds on you, doesn't he? He's one of those people that I don't mean to be violent, but good grief, anyway. Let's not go there. But he allowed them to get away with time wasting. He allowed them to do the sort of things that we've suffered it against Brentford. We've suffered it against Leeds United when they came to play at the London Stadium. And Arsenal, ironically, not the sort of team that you would expect to do the same, but they sort of time wasted, etc. And this man, absolutely good riddance to him. I'll be so pleased when he stops refereeing, because let's be honest, it really has been all about him, hasn't it? And then we got to move on to this. People saying, well, he didn't touch Bowen. And what I know, Moyes seemed to be critical of Bowen after the game and made a few comments. I don't think he meant it in the way that it seemed to come across, because Bowen, and I think the whole of West Ham, they're an honest team. We're an honest team of players. When you see other players going down, looking for penalties, looking for handballs, looking for, free kicks, etc., time wasting, etc., we don't seem to do that. I think what was upsetting about Bowen was we got up and he went, yeah, he didn't touch me. I would not have said a word, because look how high his foot was, and I know there are other angles of Ramsdale. That was a reckless challenge, and had Bowen not moved out of the way, that could have, I don't know, that could have injured him for the rest of the season again. And the fact that Mike Dean looked at that as Bowen diving was absolutely unbelievable, absolutely incredible. But that's Mike Dean for you. Anyway, that's enough about the two games, because I want to be positive. It's all about being positive and being positive for Thursday night. So let's go into your chat and see what you guys have to say. Let's just scroll up a little bit. How far should we go? Yeah, done that one, done that one. Good evening, Jim. Hello, mate. I think I've said hello, but I'll say hello just again in case. Disabled team, how are you? Thanks for joining us as well. Garino, going to get on to the under-23s, and I know he had a very good game and very good assist and a good goal as well. Souček showed what an important player he is to us against Arsenal. That's when I said, they scored two goals that normally you would expect us to score. There were two headers, and we missed Dawson and we missed Souček for their height, because they do a lot. Souček, much maligned. Oh, he's not the same player he was, etc. But he doesn't get praise for the things that he does off the ball. He is a good player. You don't become a rubbish player overnight. And let's not forget, he came in at a time when we were really under threat of relegation, him and Bowen, and they helped us stay up as well. Astrofos, at Frankfurt is no better than Lyon. I think the best team of the three that we've played so far in the knockout stages has been Seville. Technically better. Lyon were surprisingly average, but I make you right. I think Frankfurt is no better than them, to be honest. On our good day, no one can beat us. I totally agree. Anil, we're fully capable of beating them 3-1 on Thursday. I still believe. Absolutely. Good evening to you, Hammerette. You're late. Might have to take that spanner off you. Richard, we've beaten the best team in the tournament in Seville. I feel fear no team. Daniela, Villarreal have scored, if people want to know, 1-0, 1-2 on aggregate. Well done to them. Stuart, good evening to you. Hi, disabled team. Good evening to you. Hello, mate. Thank you for joining. Howard, we'll go one better against the Germans. 4-1. Antonio, Brace, Bone, and Benny. Well, I just talked a moment ago. He's having a bit of bad, not a good run at the moment, Antonio. I know he scored last week. Well, let's hope he's got his shooting boots on again this Thursday. Good evening to you, David M. Hi, everyone. What's the story involving Bovington? I don't know. News to me. So if you've got any more information, I'll try and find out for you. But I don't know anything about that. Sorry. And maybe that's come up while I've been writing the script. Quite possibly. Dabs, I would definitely start Sufal over Johnson on Thursday. We'll talk about starting lineups a little bit later on. Astrofos, we are massive in Greece too. Absolutely, we are. I might be going on holiday in Greece this year, so tell me where you are. I can come and stay with you for nothing. Disabled team, all good. Yeah, nice one, mate. David M. We got all players back, but there is no guarantee Antonio or Suchek will be playing. That's interesting. That's a bit of interesting news. I think they will both play, but I wonder why you're suggesting that they might not. Martin, football is a funny old game. This tie isn't over by any means. Absolutely agreed. Um, I don't know who Bovington is. So Hammer it, unless you can answer him, I don't know. Who else have we got here? Good evening to you, Chris Hammer. Thank you for joining. We'll do it Thursday. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. I think we absolutely will do it on Thursday. Good evening to you, Mandy. Thank you for joining. I hope you're well. James, did anyone watch the Frankfurt game last night against Leverkusen on Sky? I did get to watch a few snippets after you messaged me, mate. And thank you for some of the information you provided. Don B, terrible challenge by Ramsdale. He should have seen red. Absolutely. And this is the irony. What goes on with refereeing? And we got VAR as well. Is VAR only for stuff in the box? Why didn't VAR look at that? I know he didn't touch the player, but there was intent there. He was going. He was. It wasn't a controlled dive. With his feet first, studs up. And it's just strange the decision that was given against Bowen. David, Mike Dean made me angry that day, just letting the arse time waste. Exactly. And he had every opportunity to hurry them up. Not once did he, pull a yellow card out, for Ramsdale or anyone else who was just falling on the floor as if they'd been sniped. Disabled team, I hope your mum gets well, Stuart. Oh, Stuart, I hope your mum is okay. Now, I've no doubt your mum will appreciate everything you're doing. Mate, good luck to her. I hope she's fine. WHU. Star wants to give Mike Dean a Glasgow kiss. I didn't want, I could get kicked out, I could get my site banned if I start instigating violence. I don't want to do that. Mandy G, Mike Dean is a Dino poo eating some Chiruni. Howard, I used to get really nervous before I played in my young days. Once the whistle blew, I was in the zone. Are you right? Are you referring to what might happen on Thursday? Yeah, I hope all the players are in the zone. Martin, Mike Dean has posters of David Ellery on his bedroom wall. I thought Ellery was actually a good ref. Well, Gary will. Good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. See you tomorrow morning, mate. Daniela, I've already mentioned you, by the way. Daniela, it's only 1-0, so we can still do this. Enjoy your trip to Germany, everyone. Hope the fan base we won't do anything stupid. We haven't done anything stupid so far. There's no reason to do so on Thursday. Why do that? When we're 90 minutes away from the final, we won't. We'll be all right. We'll just go out there, be loud, and have a good laugh and a drink, and celebrate a win. Astrofos, I couldn't get a ticket to Frankfurt, but when you come here, we will have some beers for sure. I look forward to that, mate. Thank you. Mandy, if we don't concede, we win. There's a good lot. I understand what your logic there. I agree with you. It has to be a clean sheet. Dabs would absolutely love to see Okoflex or Chester start against Norwich if we beat Frankfurt. Okoflex didn't play in the under 23s. I'm not sure if Chester's did either. You never know what might happen there. Alistair, good evening to you. It was absolutely the Mike Dean show, as it always has been. Thank God he's going. Daniela, I took a West Ham away shirt to Elizabeth apartment in Rhodes in 2015. Hope it's still in the bar. Sky blue claret bands. Oh, nice one. NSCI, we will win. The majestic eagle is watching you. Thank you for joining. Much appreciated. We hope it's going to be a good game and the best team will win. Absolutely. Robert, Bovington, ex-West Ham player, left. Oh, yes, I have read about that. Something happened at the ground last Thursday where apparently there were a couple of lads who were standing in front of Bovington, and he couldn't see, and they were asked to sit down, and apparently heard abuse at Bovington and a few other people. And the poor lad, I mean, how old is it? He's 81 or something like that. He ended up leaving. So yeah, thanks for ruining an ex-West Ham player's evening by doing that. Dabs, I've never seen Johnson made a slide tackle from what I can remember. Slide, does he slide tackle? He might not do. Might not, doesn't need to. Sharky. Hi, good evening to you. Tough game on Thursday. We have to take our chances. Absolutely, we do. We absolutely do. Mandy, if let's put Mandy's comment up. If Bone was on a yellow card, would Dean have waited for VAR to make that second yellow? VAR would have shown Bone jumped out of the way. He jumped out of the way. He didn't dive, did he? Hammerette, I'm leaving early, James. Not quite got my ticket though. Still waiting to hear. Wait, are you going to the game, Hammerette? Are you going to Frankfurt as well? SG, good evening to you. SGE, I think you don't know what will happen on Thursday at our stadium. No one in your team has ever seen such a crowd like ours. Believe me, there is no chance we will lose a European game at home. May the best team win. And thank you for joining as well. Bill, good evening to you. Dean appeared to pat Bone on the back as if to thank him for being honest. So why not take the card back? Yeah, well, Mike Dean, isn't it? Right, let's move on to the next part of the show, shall we? So the women's team and the under 23s. I mean, what a finale to the season there they seem to be having. First of all, congratulations to the under 17s who have got the second trophy of the season for West Ham. The under 17s. If you remember last week, I talked about the under 15s winning the Floodlit Trophies tournament. Well, this is our second trophy of the season, the under 17s London Cup, which is half a dozen London teams. West Ham set up this small tournament. Thank God we won it. We set it up and we won it. West Ham set up this small tournament and over the season, and the under 17s beat Arsenal 4-1 in order to claim this trophy. So well done to them. We made a superb start. We raced into a 3-0 lead within 26 minutes. Lewis Orford scored the first goal of the game, and fantastic prospect Divin Mbama grabbed the second. And then our January signing, Callum Marshall, was also on target. He's scoring goals for fun as well. And in the second half, Arsenal pulled a goal back, but yet another regular goal scorer, George Earthy, grabbed our fourth. And well done to the lads. And then we move on to the under 23s. Oh, my word. The under 23s starting lineup was announced the other day. And as you could see, Yarmolenko was there. And I wondered, I wonder if he was trying to keep himself a little bit match fit, just in case he might be needed on Thursday night. You're well familiar with some of the other players now. I thought Chester's didn't play, but he did. But it was Okoflex who didn't play in this game. I don't know if he's injured or not. But Mbama, who won the trophy for the under 17s, was in the lineup. He's been around quite a bit, because he's also played for the under 18s over the last few days as well. Within the first minute of the game, West Ham got a penalty, and Sonny Perkins stepped up and calmly put the goal away. He's also had a fantastic season for the under 23s as well, at only 19 years of age. 22 minutes in, and Thierry Neves grabbed himself a goal, and 6 minutes later, the Ukrainian, Mr. Yarmolenko, grabbed a goal with an impressive defensive midfielder, finding Yarmolenko's timely run. Some typical Yarmolenko step over, and then ball was in the net for 3-0. And then, oops, Diop return? That's obviously wrong, isn't it? Forgot to update that slide. And on the 60th minute, goal scorer turned goal provider Yarmolenko's sensational ball with the outside of his left boot found Perkins through on goal, and it was 4-0. They've had an absolutely superb season, finishing second in the league, a few points behind Man City, and well done to them. And then we move on to the under 18s. They weren't to be undone. They played Brighton in their penultimate game of the season. By the way, that was the under 23s last game of the season. Then we move on to Brighton for their penultimate game of the season, and they played. They went out and smashed Brighton 4-0. 4-0. So not only did the under 23s beat Derby 5-0, the under 18s did almost as good by beating Brighton, but they did it away from home as well. And Barmer grabbed himself an impressive hat trick. And I did say, didn't I, that this is an impressive young lad. He's got a great future ahead of him without a shadow of a doubt. Now, the under 18s are just a point now behind Southampton, who are who've got a top spot. But Southampton do have a game in hand. Now, if Southampton lose their game in hand against Reading, which is on Wednesday night, then it's all to play for in the last game of the season. And then you never know. You know, the under 18s might be crowned champions of their league. So well done to them. They have been absolutely fantastic. And we've got, not only do we have some great prospects in the under 23s, we also have some fantastic prospects in the under 18s. And Divin Mbama is definitely one to watch for the future. The women's team, unfortunately, didn't do so well in their last game of the season. After their great 2-1 win over Reading last week, they were out against Man United at the weekend, but unfortunately they lost 3-0 to them. Oh no, it wasn't their last game of the season. They do have one game left, which is on the 8th of May, where a win against Arsenal will seal them 6th place in the league. So well done to them for a good, pretty decent season as well. Hasn't been fantastic, but they're still building and building strong. Right, what have we got here? Let's go into the chat, move on before the next part of the show. We said that one. Bill, Dean appeared to pat bone on that. Yeah, we've done that one. NCI, Anil, not too good this season about Eintracht's home record, but this match is different. Enjoy the atmosphere if you're in the stadium. Thank you for that, NCI. You're going, are you? Well, I'll see you out there then. Mandy, Johnson had the worst game this season in the first leg. Would you replace him with Soufal or gamble on Freddie's pace? Let me get to that. I don't think he had that bad a game, but it wasn't his best. But then there are a lot of players played under par. James, brilliant hammer. Don't forget the brilliant circular bar in departures. Circular bar. God, is she going in style? WHU. So sad that Bovington got abuse. He played with Bobby Moore in the FA Youth in the late 1950s. Absolutely. See, a lot of these youngsters don't know their history, mind you. It took me a while to remember Eddie Bovington's name. So thank you for that update. David again. What I don't understand was that VAR on handball by an Arsenal player. If that happens the other end, we would have had a penalty after VAR check. Don't get it at all. Because it's not designed for us, is it? It's not designed for teams like West Ham United to benefit from VAR. Howard, David M, it's VAR for the greedy six. There you go. Don B. Credit to Yarma playing in the under 23s. No dummy being spat out like Payet. Absolutely. And he's done it a few times throughout this season to keep himself match fit. Anil, Mbama seems like a natural finisher. Fantastic. I mean, he scored something like about 100 odd goals, in all the youth levels that he's played at. He is a fantastic player. Robert, Moyes needs to sort out these boys out. A few of the boys' contracts run out in 2023. Longello, Alesi, Okoflex, Vire, and Lang. Yeah, there are a few, and I'm going to talk. Yeah, well, let's talk about them now because I've got a feeling that quite a number of these young players are going to probably go out on loan next season. You may see Okoflex maybe being around the first team. Maybe Alese, I think, could possibly go out on loan. Possibly Perkins as well, maybe Chester's. You might see even Longello. You might see 3 or 4 of them go out on loan, but they've got to go to championship teams and they've got to go out to teams that they're going to get proper game time at. I'm going to talk about our loan players in a minute because some of them have had a good time out on loan. Not all of them have really had that much of a good time. Connor Coventry is probably the one that's had the best time. So I've got a feeling that some of our under 23s are going to go out on loan next season, get a bit of match fitness in, playing at a much higher level, etc. Possible readiness to come back the season after to challenge for a place in the first team. That's what I think. Right, let's move on to our players, shall we? So let's start off with Connor Coventry. Connor Coventry played in the 5-0 win over Plymouth Argyle at the weekend, taking the MK Dons into the playoffs. The Dons needed to better the result from the game that Rotherham played in, but in order to get automatic promotion. That didn't happen, so they are in the playoffs and they meet Wycombe on Thursday and on Sunday as well. And good luck to Connor Coventry. I think he's been fantastic form in the second half of this season at MK Dons. He's enjoying his football, and he is possibly one of the players that has benefited from going out on loan. And there's a chance, there's talk about him possibly coming in to stake a claim in the squad. Not saying he's going to be a starter. We've got Mark Noble leaving, retiring at the end of the season. Maybe Coventry could be one of those players that could actually take over his mantle over the next few years. Mipo Odebeko also played his last game for relegated Doncaster Rovers in the game that ended 1-1. Nathan Holland was also in that game, but he was an unused sub. In 16 league appearances, Odebeko managed to score 2 goals and provided 1 assist, whereas Nathan Holland has scored 6 goals and 7 assists in 39 games in all competitions. Look, Nathan Holland is at the end of his contract. I kind of think that we've might have seen the last of Nathan Holland, to be quite honest with you. Whereas Odebeko, I keep saying that Odebeko, thank you. Keep saying that Odebeko, he's younger. I think he's possibly got. He'll probably go out on loan again to try and prove himself because, like someone has just mentioned, he's also one of those players that is going to be at the end of his contract at the end of next year. Who else have we got out on loan? There was, of course, Nathan Trott. Nathan Trott has been relegated with second division French team Nancy. Again, another player who's at the end of his contract, and again, someone that we may be saying goodbye to in the summertime. And other keeper, Joseph Anang, had a bit of a torrid time at the weekend where he, sorry about that. Joseph Anang had a bit of a torrid time at the weekend where his team, St. Patrick's Athletic, were thumped 4-0. Not his best. I mean, he's done quite well up to now, but that wasn't one of his sparkling moments, to say the least. Right, what about some of the senior players? Well, Declan Rice won the Football Writers Awards. He came third place, behind Salah and De Bruyne, which is a fantastic effort, considering those 2 players are attack-minded forwards, midfielders, etc. So for a defensive-minded midfielder to come third behind Mo Salah and De Bruyne is an absolutely fantastic effort. Absolute credit to him. Declan was interviewed by Sky Sports at the weekend, and he spoke about the key moments in his career so far. His time of winning a trophy with the academy, his debut in the Premier League, and so on. And he was also asked about the speculation surrounding his transfers. And he was careful with his words, but he said, he can't help what the transfer rumours are. He said he gets teased in the dressing room about his 150 million pound price tag, etc. But he said, my focus is on staying my focus is on the West Ham United, and from what we're hearing today, apparently he has made that commitment, even though I think many of us kind of knew or hoped that he was going to do so, that he'll be at West Ham United next season. And we need to keep these young players, don't we? Declan Rice is a pivotal player. Look at the players that we've had in the past: Rio, Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, etc. Imagine if we'd sort of kept hold of those players and built, rather than keep selling our youngsters. I know Rice will eventually go one day. I still think he's got one more season left in him for us, and hopefully he might do that when we're playing Champions League. You never know. Ben Johnson, now there's speculation that he's out on Thursday. He missed the game against Arsenal at the weekend. There was speculation that he's got a thigh strain, and it might be 50-50. It sounds like he's going to go into a late fitness test before David Moyes makes a decision on whether he plays him or not. I've got a feeling that even if he is fit, people have been asking, I think Soufal would actually take the right back spot, but I'll get into that in a little while. Then we move on to some transfer news and contract speculation. Apparently, Juventus are interested in Thomas Souček for a fee of around 45 million pound. Look, we know that talks have stalled about his contract. West Ham want to offer him a better contract, a new deal, improved salary, and another 3 years is what the rumours are. But are Juve interested in him? Possibly. I think that shows just how well our players are thought of at home and abroad. Got Bowen with interest from Liverpool, Declan with interest from everybody that owns a football club, and if Juve are interested in Souček, it just shows just how highly rated some of our players are. I think that we'll sort a deal out with Thomas Souček. He's 27 years of age. He's made 102 appearances for West Ham so far, scoring 19 goals, and he's a valuable player. He came in at 19 million. I said earlier on, he came in at a time when we were struggling with relegation, and now he's playing. Now, people are saying, he's not the same player, etc. You've got to not forget that he's played regular football now for like 2.5 years that he's been with us. He's accustomed to having rest. In the league that he was in before, you had a winter break, etc. He's been playing international football as well. He's hardly had a proper break. So I'm not surprised that he might look a little bit jaded at times, but he's still an absolutely valuable player for us. Right, some transfer speculation as well. A few days ago, last week or so, that apparently David Moyes was seen at a Millwall game, looking at talent spots in some youngsters, and apparently Stuart Pearce was also at another game looking a Nottingham Forest game, looking at some players there. And there are two players from each of those teams that we kind of been linked to over the recent past. In defence, Dijon Bernard for Nottingham Forest, and Joe Worrell. Dijon Bernard for Hull City, and Joe Worrell for Nottingham Forest. And if looking at their stats and you try to work out which ones are the better, the better of the two for me is Joe Worrell, without a shadow of a doubt. Dijon Bernard is on loan at Hull City from Man United, but he's had a decent season without a shadow of a doubt. But when Moyes went to see that game, Millwall against Hull, he was on the bench, so he didn't get to see him. But if I had a choice between, if it was just these two young centre backs, between Joe Worrell and Dijon Bernard, I think it would be Worrell for me. He's got a better Opta performance stats. He's got better ball recovery stats. He's got better pass attempt stats, better aerial duels, 55%, nearly 56% aerial duel wins. Ground duels wins is better clearances, interceptions, and so on. So for me, he's just a little bit more polished than Dijon Bernard. And then of the two teams, you've got two players in attacking midfield: Keane Lewis-Potter for Hull City and Brennan Johnson. So if Moyes did go to see the Hull game, well, he did go to see it, then maybe he would have been looking at Lewis-Potter, and then Stuart Pearce may have been looking at Brennan Johnson to see how they fared. Now, interestingly, these are very evenly matched attacking midfielders. Lewis Potter might have the slight edge in terms of some of his stats there. Better pass attempts, better pass accuracy, better crosses. But then you're looking at the accuracy rates. Brennan Johnson has got a better crossing accuracy rate. He's got more goals. He's got more shots. He's got more shot accuracy rate. Lewis Potter has got more shots, but accuracy-wise, it goes to Johnson. So they're quite evenly balanced. Now, for me, there's an awful lot of speculation about Lewis Potter. People were talking about that there's already a deal done, etc., and he's coming to West Ham. I won't lie to you. Either of these two players would be a fantastic achievement to get at West Ham United. They will both add something to the team. They both play across the front line. They can play as a false number 9. They can play as a second striker. They play out on the wing, etc. And they'll both offer something different, but something good as well. And then more speculation. Apparently, Tony Cottee came out during the week and apparently let slip that we've already done a deal for an English goalkeeper. And when you look at the goalkeepers, I did a comparison last week of some of the keepers that might be available if certain teams get relegated, like Burnley's Nick Pope or Pickford, Jordan Pickford at Everton. But only if they go down that maybe one of those two goalies might be available. But apparently, Tony Cottee said that a deal's already been done. And the only English keeper that you can imagine any deal might have already been done for is Sam Johnston. I talked about him last week as well. If anything, he'll be the cheaper of all the options. He's on lower salary. He'll be a free agent, so he'll only come with a signing on fee. Whereas all the other players, Pickford might demand a fee of around 15 to 20 million pounds. Pope might demand a fee of around 12 to 15 million pounds. So they won't come cheap. Areola, who we currently have, will have a fee of around 11 million. But then it comes to wages. Pickford has got wages of quite high, 150 odd thousand pound a week, or 100,000 pound a week. Sorry, Areola's got a salary of about 120,000 pound a week. Pickford is less, but it's still around the 50-60 mark, 60,000 pound a week mark. Whereas Johnson, he's on about 40,000 pound a week. So Johnston will be the cheaper option of all of them. Will he be the best one? For me, in all honesty, I would much rather keep Alphonse Areola. I think Alphonse Areola has been superb for us. He's demonstrated what a really good keeper he is, and why not? He's integrated into the team already. If we're going to, as I said last week, if we're going to be looking at the next level and bringing in, bigger players with bigger salaries, etc., we're going to have to pay a keeper a decent salary, as much as we're going to have to pay Declan a decent salary, and so checking all other players that we might bring in. Right, let's take a little break and talk and see where your guys' heads are at. Dom credits Yarmolenko. No, yeah, absolutely. Roberts, Moyes needs to sort these boys out. Yeah, we talked about that. Ballon Dawson, good evening to you. How about Noble in midfield on Thursday? No. Allow Souček and Rice to get forward and more. He keeps the ball. Look, we love Noble, but no, I think the game needs to be fast paced on Thursday, and I'll talk about what I think our tactics should be, and it wouldn't be a game with the greatest of respect to him for Noble. Garino, Mike Dean can't wait to go and work with VAR. All video replays will just show him doing an Alan Partridge. Do you like what we see? Apparently that was an April Fool. Apparently he's not doing VAR, so I don't know what to believe. I hope he doesn't do VAR, because can you imagine some of the decisions? Oh, good grief. Daniela, keep an eye on Scott Parker, Bournemouth, close to promotion back to the Premier League. Absolutely. And good luck to them. He's done really well with them. Garino, Mike Dean can't wait to go up. Done that one. Astrofos, anyone heard about Tottenham want Souček? No way, mate. Alistair, I think you'll find Eddie Bovington played in the 64 Cup final. Thanks for the correction, mate. Garino, hello. Sorry, gonna have to get the cat out of the way. Garino, if we get past Frankfurt, I suspect we might see a few under 23 players in the league. At least I hope so, but I have said that about 10 times already, and zilch. Mandy, we need to beat Norwich to nail 7th. Yeah, the worst that can possibly happen is that we'll finish in 7th place and get Europa Championship football. I'll take it. It's European football. It's European football. Hammerette, thank you. Hit the like button. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do hit the subscribe button. It really helps out. I'm trying to get to 1,000. I'm a long way off 1,000 subscribers. So please do. If you've yet to do so, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. Thanks, Hammerette. James, Villarreal 2-0. 2-0. Liverpool are 2-0 down. See? Stranger things have happened. Robert, bought time you did your job. About time you did. You're talking about Hammerette hitting the like button. Yeah, there you go. Sharky, Yellow Submarine 2-0 up. There you go. I mean, it's fantastic. Good for them. Good for them. That Dick Emery isn't a bad manager. Victor, good evening to you. Funny that Souček being linked with Juventus and Spurs when he apparently wants more money. Sounds like agent talking a bit to get a better deal. There you go. That's about as much as it is, isn't it? All of a sudden, he's being linked to a dozen different teams, and West Ham will turn around and go, "Oh, we'd rather keep you, so here's 80 grand a week." Yeah, don't believe all that. Spurs? We're not going to sell him to Spurs. Leave off. Hammerette, Liverpool obviously haven't paid the ref enough tonight. Ooh. Good evening to you, Pam. How are you? How can we build a better team if our best players leave? Souček should stay and Bone. Calm your pants, because I don't think Souček or Bone or Declan will leave, and we will be building a better team. I always used to say, don't believe all the rubbish that you hear or the rubbish that you read on social media, etc., because a lot of it is speculation, And David Moyes, he called out a so-called ITK the other week, didn't he? About where'd you get that story from, etc., etc. And as I always say, don't believe it. The minute something actually happens, and when it's been properly announced, rather than the speculation that goes around, that's when we have to believe it. Sharky. Sean Whetstone said he was going to Dortmund, didn't he? Is he going to Dortmund? He's going to the wrong city then, isn't he? Daniela. Bournemouth 1-0 up, looking like Scott Parker will bring them back. Well done to them. But small ground. Don't get a lot of away tickets for that game. Mandy, just agent talk, looking for better deals. Absolutely. Stuart, home and away against Bournemouth again would be awesome. Either away in August or May, long weekends in the sunshine. Yeah, we're looking forward to the last game of the season in Brighton. Normally, Brighton is in December when it's freezing cold. So I'm really hoping the sun's going to be shining at the end of the season when we play them. Sharky, I'd like Nottingham Forest to go up through the playoffs. Yeah, good team. Good team. They've been steady, haven't they? So, yeah, that would be a good shout. Alistair, Souček needs a rest and his role has changed a bit now that Declan is going forward more. Exactly. So you are going to suffer. It is going to affect your game. He's not Superman. And I think he gets a lot of stick for nothing. Mandy, Lewis Potter, because Brennan is playing for a better team. Good shout. Yeah, because Brendan is playing for Notts Forest. And if they go up, they certainly wouldn't sell him. That's a good shout, Mandy. Hammerheads, Liverpool on the ropes now, 2-0. God, you're all loving that, aren't you? Victor, haven't we also been linked with Twine? Mate, Victor, tell me who we've not been linked to. I don't do an awful lot of, as you notice, a lot of the transfer rumours. Otherwise, we will have a very long show. But when the transfer window is about to open, I'll go back and do transfer stories as well. And I'll bring you one a day, and give you 10 different players that we're going to be linked to. PGADS, no keeper needed. Fab is a fine Polish wine. We do need a backup, though, don't we? Or maybe someone to take over from him, to be quite honest with you. Mandy, looks like we're not going to pay our early's wage. Well, and again, don't believe everything you read. I don't think it's a done deal that we've got Johnston or anyone else at the moment. I think David Moyes is going to look at what Areola's done for us this season. He's going to go, why would I not want to keep you? Why not? Harley, good evening to you, mate. How are you? Thank you for joining and finding my new channel. Stuart, possibly James, we usually end up with Bournemouth around. We do. We end up with Bournemouth, Brighton, all the sunny teams, all the sunny areas in the middle of winter time. Crazy Cole, good evening to you. Liverpool losing. There's the ref wearing a Spanish hat with a moustache. Victor, a goalkeeper being signed as being rubbish by X, if you believe what he said. Who do you believe, though? I don't think any deals have been done with any players at the moment, because that's not how David Moyes operates. PGADS, did Stel just pass Sushi to the left-hand side? I did just pass the Sushi to the left. Nice one there, mate. Good evening, Sir Nook. How are you? 2-0. We're going to win 2-0. We are. Oh, come on, West Ham. Good evening, Mr. Alf. How are you? I found you. Good. Well done, mate. Good to see you on Sunday. Souček stays. It's just posturing by the club and him in the contract negotiations. Exactly. Good evening to you, Lee. Hi, everyone. I've been here from the start, but been watching Liverpool getting tested. Hope you're all well. We are massive. I hope they get started. I really do. Sir Nook, what are your thoughts about the Frankfurt Ultra 97? I don't know much about them. I just know that every team has got their fans. Apparent, they came on last Thursday. They were loud and well done to them. They would supported their team, and that's what every team, home or away, should do. Absolutely. Mark. Victor Fenn, ex talks nonsense, gave him a catchy name to fool people. He has been exposed. The keeper must be signed. Fab is old, and Areola is just a loan. There you go. So people believe what they want to believe. I can't get carried away by all the stories that go around. I think when I started doing all these shows, I did fall for all of it, and I used to sort of talk as if I really knew what was going on. I don't. And you know what? Nor does anyone else. The only people that really know what's going on are David Moyes, his backroom staff, possibly the board, and the players that we're linked to, or the players that we're controlling, Socek and Declan, etc., etc. Everybody else just speculates. Devon, good evening to you, mate. I'm absolutely shitting bricks, mate. What do you reckon for Thursday? I'm not confident. Come on, mate. Come on. I am a little bit confident. I don't want to be overconfident, but I am a little bit. And let's go into the last part of the show. So, Eintracht Frankfurt played on Monday night. They played against Bayer Leverkusen on Monday night and lost 2-0. So, if there's an advantage here, we have an advantage of having had. Did I load the wrong video up? Let's just hang on a minute. I'm a fussy git, aren't I? I loaded the wrong video up, but it makes sense to me by loading that video up, so you know the context of what I'm going to talk about. Frankfurt lost 2-0 to Bayer Leverkusen on Monday night. The big advantage that we have over them is that we've had 24 hours or just under 24 hours more rest than they have. They played late on Monday night, and they lost 2-0. It was another defeat for them. They've not been doing well in the in the Bundesliga, and they're now down to about 11th place in that league. They had 4 key players who faced West Ham last Thursday that were rested: Jibril Sal, Daichi Kamada, who scored the winning goal, Amani Toure and Rafael Borre. They were not in the starting lineup, and at halftime, Filip Kostic was also rested. Now, there are apparently a couple of injuries that maybe Eintracht Frankfurt are going to have to deal with, and that kind of leads me into the team that they might be putting out against us on Thursday night. So I've gone initially with the same team as last Thursday, but there's a doubt about centre back Hinteregger, and there's a doubt about Lindstrom, who are both considered to be unlikely starters. But I think Trapp will still be their goalie. If Hinteregger doesn't make it, Ndika, who missed the first game because of suspension, is likely to take his place, and then Tuta on the other side. Knauf, who scored the first goal, Sal, Roda, and Kostic will make up the midfield. And if Lindstrom doesn't make it, they've also got Jovic, not Jovic. Let me get the right name so I know what I'm talking about. His name isn't in front of me, so you can hang on a minute. Jakic, sorry. Jakic, who was also missing from the first game because of a suspension. He's a defensive midfielder. It probably mean that Kostic might move further forward, and in place of Lindstrom, Jakic might go into the midfield alongside Roda and so. So otherwise, they're going to have, apart from those two players, I think they're likely to have more or less the same team out against us. And they did a number on us. You know, they did play well. They did sort of their second goal. They certainly carved us up in the middle of the park. And this is why, you know, someone mentioned about maybe Noble playing. This is why I don't think this will be a game for Mark Noble. Certainly not to start with. They're a little bit too nippy around the centre of midfield for Noble to be able to cope with that. I'm not putting Noble down. I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but I just don't think it will be the type of game that will be suited to him. For our lineup, I think we're going to see probably what most of us will predict. There might be, you know, I think Zuma will make. I know Diop is back, but Dawson will be back. I think he'll be alongside Kurt Zuma. And if there were two positions that you might sort of question who might play, Johnson at right back or Sufal, and then Benrahma or Lanzini up front. Now I've gone with Benrahma. Sufal, I think, even though I said earlier, even if Johnson is fit, I think this might be a game for Sufal, just a little bit more solid alongside Dawson, Zuma, and Creswell. We'll go four at the back. We won't go three at the back because I don't think now we need to. With Dawson back and Zuma back in the team, there's no need to go three at the back. I think we'll do a back four and something like a three in the middle. And I put four nows, and I know you can switch them around. You could put four nows out on the left and Benrahma in the middle, or vice versa. But I've kind of put four nows in the middle alongside Declan and Socek, and I think Benrahma and Bowen and Antonio up front. Now I've dropped Lanzini, and I'll tell you for why. One of the things that James Allen sort of messaged me about when he was watching the Leverkusen against Frankfurt game on Monday, he said that what Frankfurt can't seem to deal with is pace. So if you've got pace in your team and play it along the floor, you know, that might cause their backline a few issues. And I think with a little bit of pace and a little bit of nippiness and so on, I think the likes of Benrahma, Antonio, or Bowen are probably more suited to that. Lanzini's great for picking up the ball, picking it up deep, passing and moving, etc. But if you want more pace in your team, then it's Benrahma that's more likely to give you that over Lanzini. That's why I've kind of gone for Benrahma over Lanzini. And in order to keep that pace going, you need your back line to be solid. You need Declan, Creswell, Zuma, Dawson, and Sufal to be solid. There's that solid foundation at the back to allow players to get further forward, to actually run at Frankfurt. And I think possibly that's how we might win the game on Thursday. Like I said, the game against them last week, despite not playing well, 15 attempts. We hit the woodwork 3 times. I know they hit the woodwork once, but the fact that we didn't play well and we hit the woodwork so many times, it bodes well for me. If we played really poorly last week, you know, and we didn't create any chances, etc., I'd be a lot more apprehensive, not pessimistic, but a lot more apprehensive about the game. But I think if we do go at them with pace, and James Allen was absolutely correct in saying that, because what I watched some of the snippets of the game, and when you go at them, along the floor, you know, it kind of puts them off. And as Mandy G said, if we don't concede, that's the important. I know it sounds corny, don't concede and you win the game. We've still got to score, 2 goals to win the game, get 1 goal back to make it even. But keeping a clean sheet is important, which is again why possibly it looks like it'll be Sufal alongside Dawson, Zuma, and Creswell to keep that solidity at the back. Not that Johnson's any worse, I don't think he is. But if there's any doubt about Johnson, then much rather go with Sufal at the right back there. And he played a little bit out of position, didn't he? You know, sort of playing as a wing backy type role against Arsenal doesn't really altogether suit him. And then with that solid midfield, it means that the attack-minded players can sort of run at the team. Antonio, you know, talked earlier about him being slightly not on the boil the last few months. This might be the game for him to really come back to the boil, run at them, really give them some problems, get that ball, knock it forward as Antonio does, and run at them. If they can't handle his pace, that's going to put them on edge. And if they can't handle his pace and get the likes of Benrahma, Fornals, Bowen in the box, even Souček in the box, who knows what might happen. I'm going for I'm hoping I'm going for it that we're not going to concede. I'm going to go for a 2-0. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win, and I'm going to go for the fact that we're going to actually make it to the final. I'd love us to get to the final. You know, I was too young when the last time we played in the final. Some of you weren't even born the last time we played in the final, and that's my prediction. But let's see what you guys have to say. Very short show tonight, only an hour, but let's see what you have to say before we go off for the evening. Um, Anthony, good evening to you. Go Villarreal. We are live in a yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine 2-0. Fantastic for them. Lee, I suspect you will return with a sore throat from all the singing. I suspect I will. Alistair, hypothetically, who would we play in the final? Fab or Areola? No hypothetical about it. You know, you stick with the goalie that you started. If Moyes made his mark, you know, we all kind of. Well, I certainly thought that Areola would play in the Premier League and Fabianski would be the cup player, the cup keeper. And I don't think anyone at that time, none of us thought we were going to get this far in the cup competition in the Europa League. But you absolutely 100%, if we get to the final, you play Areola. He's got to have that credit. Absolutely. Victor, strange that Fabianski still hasn't signed his deal yet. It's because he's not being guaranteed to be number one next season, which apparently he wants. You know, I think if Fabian, I'm surprised. I thought the deal was already like announced months ago. But if he hasn't signed that, he isn't going to get the number one guarantee, and I don't think he will be used as a number one next season. And maybe, just maybe, if he doesn't like that and he goes to another club to get first team football, then you might see Areola and Johnston come in as replacements. James, this music makes me want to utilize my bong. Go for it. Hammerhead, I know what bong you're talking about. Hammerhead, Frankfurt played literally all reserves, so the fact that they lost to Leverkusen is irrelevant if you ask me. They did what they did the weekend before. They rested four players. That's all. They didn't play all their reserves. They rested four players. And some of the players that they brought in might even start on Thursday, like Indica, etc., who was missing because of suspension for the first semi-final game. So, no, not quite right there, Hammerhead. And let's not forget, we rested a number of players. We rested Socek, we rested Antonio, and a few others as well. So both teams done the same. And ironically, both teams did the same thing before the first leg as well. Hammer Areola for definite, absolutely. Daniela, AFC Bournemouth, well done to them. A fantastic team. Fulham, I'll get a ticket for. Bournemouth might be a bit difficult. Pigads, I'm not confident in the result, but I am confident that they've given it their all. Absolutely, mate. We will give it our all. We're not going to let this go. We're too close to it now. Anthony, when I lived in Spain 9.5 years ago, my ex taught me the Villarreal kids. She got tickets often. Took me to the Villarreal kids quite often for free for the players. Hope they win. Good luck to them. You know, that's what champion. Well, actually, you know what? On that note, let me go back to something that I was going to mention earlier. The whole thing about Champions League football next season. Let me just find the slide for that, because David Moyes was quite outspoken about it, and I absolutely agree with him. Let me get my notes up to talk about that. I should have done it a lot earlier in the show. Um, as we all know, the Champions League format for the 2024-25 season is being changed, and apparently now, if certain teams come fifth in the league or they win the FA Cup, because of their coefficient rating, they might still be able to get into the Champions League over other teams. So, say for argument's sake, we win the FA Cup next season, but we wouldn't get in the Champions League because of that. But if Arsenal or Spurs win the FA Cup and they don't finish in the top four, they will get a place in the Champions League. Now, look, that's just absolute nonsense, isn't it? You know, the Champions League is no longer the Champions League. It seems to be just a league only for a certain number, certain teams around Europe, and this is all because of the whole threat of the Super League, then the European Super League, and clearly UEFA don't want to let go of the big teams, etc., and they want to do everything they can to keep the big teams, and now they're trying to get him in through the back door. And David Moyes spoke out about it, and quite rightly so. He said, I don't think it sits correctly with anyone who is a football supporter. I don't see where there are many people who could speak positively about this being a change for the good. I'm guessing behind it is that it's some way to keep the so-called bigger teams from going into other leagues, that they're going to try and reward the teams that are used to the Champions League because they're going to need the money to keep building teams. So it's become a little in a circle, isn't it? It's like, well, just keep the same teams over and over again, and no one else is kind of allowed to get into that. But I don't think it's what we've been brought up on. At the moment, it seems rather really unfair to the football pyramid. We have a brilliant league here and the Champions League, and it's been incredibly successful. The games we're watching at the moment, the quality of the football, the teams, etc. But for example, the group stages are probably the bit in the Champions League now where you think, I've seen Inter Milan against Liverpool a few times. And from that point of view, if you're going to go back to seeing the same teams again and again and again, we'll all get pretty bored. And I actually agree with that. I actually 100% agree with that. If all you're going to see is the same team over and over and over, look what we have in every other league around the world. We have a promotion and a relegation system. Teams can get promoted, teams can get relegated, new teams come into the league in order to look at, in order to have something different. Some teams surprise you, some teams don't. Look at Brentford. Look how well they've done, in the Premier League after being promoted. And the same thing should happen to the Champions League. The Champions League should be about being there on merit, not through the back door. But we all know what it's for. As I said, it's all because there certain teams want to be protected, and UEFA want to protect their brand. But I've got to, I think I said this when it was first announced, when the Super League was first announced, is let them go. Just let them all go. Let them set up their own league. Let them all, play, and we'll just get on with our stuff and other competitions. Because if it's going to become a closed door, what's the point of being part of it? Those teams are going to just grow and grow and grow because of the money that they're going to have thrown at them, and we'll just all keep falling out. And there's no point at that point. At that point, there's no point in trying to compete. As it stands at the moment, West Ham United have got 90 minutes away for possibly being. Well, not 180 minutes away. If we win against Frankfurt and if we win in the final, we'll be in the Champions League next season. And isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that all? It's being there on merit. It's being there because you deserve to be there. Like I said, yeah, I remember European when it was called the European Cup. Only the champions of each country played in the bloody thing, and then it became the Champions League, and it was like, oh, you finished first, and you finished second, and then you finished third, and then you finished fourth, and now it's like, well, if you win the FA Cup, and just because you played before in the Champions League, you'll get into the Champions League. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's farcical. And apparently, the fan bases, fan groups are around, including some of the Greedy Six fan bases, are all getting together to protest about this. And I hope that works because it's got to be stopped in its tracks. It's just not right. Anyway, rant over. Let's move on. So look, we are playing Indica. Yeah, I heard because Hinteregge could be out and Tuta on the right. I wasn't sure if Torre and Tuta which ones they were. So yeah, I believe so. It's gone again. Excuse me 1 second. My screen keeps dying on me. I can't see you, but I'm sure you can see me. I hope you can. Anyway, there you are. I'm back. Bournemouth done it. Well done. May the best team win with the most determination. May the best team with the most determination win. May the best team with the most determination win, guys, on Thursday. Absolutely. No, not Jakic. No. Is it because is he injured or is he not favoured? Who would you replace if Lindstrom is out injured? Haig. Okay, cool. Martin, Liverpool losing 2-0 at half time. So turning a tie around can be done. There you go. Exactly. Dom, have to say they were excellent in midfield. They were. Give them credit where credit's due. Eintracht Frankfurt played really well in midfield. They sliced through us last Thursday. There's no doubt about that at all. Robert, rumor has it that Hinteregger is 50-50, but as Nook said, it could be that Indica will play instead. But apparently Indica played at the against Leverkusen, and he may be a bit rusty. I don't know. Apparently I read that he didn't play that well. Pigads, Soufal isn't fully fit. He needed to change at half time against Arsenal. Maybe because he's not played that often. Maybe play. Yeah. It's going to be either Soufal or Johnson. And if Johnson is a 50-50, then I think it'll be Soufal that'll play. NCII, if Lindstrom cannot play, it's good for you. Haug is not at top level yet. Yeah, Lindstrom was a good player. He played, you've got some very good players. Kostic, you got is it Knauf or Knauf? Played really well. Your Borre up front was really good. And Kamada was excellent. I like him. I think he's a fantastic little player. And Lindstrom was also effective as well. Yeah. Good evening to you, Chris. I hope you're well. Moyes should go in for Brennan Johnson. I doubt Forest will make it now. Well, they're not going to try and get through. They might get through in the playoff. Johnson, I like. I like Johnson. I like Lewis Potter. There's more noise about Lewis Potter than there is about Johnson, but I think they're both very, very good players. Martin, I'm down 1% now. I have to get up. What's over to you do that, mate. Alistair, he's not recovered from the op thanks to Matic's knee in the nuts. Oh, yeah, you're talking about Soufal. James, keep the ball on the floor with the front players, pass and move in between them. We will win. Yeah, thank you for that information the other day, mate. Victor, I will play Fredericks left back for pace. Creswell was torn apart last week by Frankfurt, but it's because he was playing as a three of a centre back, which was the problem. It looked like it was anyway. Whereas if we play with a flat back four, I think Creswell is much more adaptable to that. He's done well as a left-sided centre back, but much more adaptable. I think if we play a back four system, Steve. We should play back five and push their wingers back. It doesn't seem to work for us, mate. Good evening to you, Mickey. Just came on, so watching from the start. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. I hope you enjoy the show. Good evening to you, Zorbus. I believe 2-0. I hope so. Yassel to you as well, mate. I hope you're well. What part of Cyprus you in, mate? I love that. It's a beautiful flag, isn't it? Pam, be good to win 3-0. Would be wonderful to win 3-0. James, you reckon it's going to be 3-1. Garino, think we can do it. Saw enough in the first leg to be optimistic. Gone all peach with my typing. History in reverse, 0 3-1. Absolutely. James, I think we'll spank them on Thursday. I don't think it'll be a spanking, but I'm hoping we're going to win. Garino, our attacking player has to be clinical, our passing crisp, so that requires a big step up from the recent matches when our decision making, etc., has been a bit iffy. Let Benrahma loose. Against Arsenal, I think he was decent. When he came on against Frankfurt, I think he was decent as well. Garino, who do you think will get to the final from the other match, Leipzig or Rangers? Regrettably, I think it will be Leipzig. I think it will. I think it might be, or is it Leipzig? Leipzig. You know which one I mean. Alistair, bring Noble on late if penalties looks likely. Fair play. James, passing and moving and not staying still. Yeah, that's what you were saying to me the other night, mate. Daniela, my nerves won't take a penalty shootout, so have to win in normal time. I know. Let's scroll down a little bit. Alistair, I agree. I hope we get it done in normal time. Garino, should we just rename UEFA as the Masons, mate? I mean, it's just what they're trying to do. It's just utter nonsense. Not for teams just like West Ham, but other teams in Germany like Frankfurt and other teams like that, where you got to route through Europa League to get into the Champions League. And I think, yeah, that's great. If you've won a major competition like that, a nice step up is good. But then winning the FA Cup, in the English league and maybe finishing 8th. And then just because you are Arsenal or Liverpool or whoever, you get into the Champions League is utter nonsense. Garino, teams come on the pitch and give secret handshakes. Kaya, we need to be on our passing game and not give the ball away cheaply, express some quality, especially in the top third, and take our chances. Good evening to you, GP. You're a bit late, mate. Thank you for joining. Chris, Joe Worrell is average. Moy should stay clear. Yeah, I was just making the comparison between him or Bernard, but Johnson could become our next centre back. I think he's shown some good touches there, and also he played centre back for the England team as well, the under-20s. Anthony, bring back the Cup Winners' Cup. Yeah, Why not? European Cup and UEFA Cup, so much better, and knockout football over 2 legs. Absolutely. That was proper football. It was exciting, wasn't it? Because what you did when, if an English team that you were hoping to go through got knocked out, you'd stay and watch it because you were seeing teams, and it could have been any team could have won. Whereas now, Pico, I don't think I've watched Champions League for years, to be quite honest with you. I haven't really sort of sat down and taken that much interest in the Champions League over the past sort of 5, 6 years or so. Kind of got a little bit bored with it. PCADs, isn't the Premier League already the Super League? Spain, France, Italian clubs are just jealous. Well, that what they're talking about the Super League PCADs is a European Super League. So yeah, maybe emulate. You're right. Maybe these other teams from other countries emulating what we've got in the Premier League, having the top, teams, top players playing in it, etc. Ian, the drama of Thursday night let me in. Hang on, you're back again. The drama of Thursday night has left me in suspended animation. Pins and needles, more massive than massive. Mate, I'm nervous already. I am. I am. God knows what state I'm going to be in by Thursday night. Victor, check Frankfurt home record. They're not great at home in the league or Europa. They have 1 win in 5 in the Europa League, which is another reason why it gives us a little bit of hope as well. GP, I think UEFA also treats football as a business. Well, they do. Sad fact, West Ham don't sell well in Europe like Wank United. But you give these Villarreal, West Ham, Frankfurt, other teams like that. Why can't they become as good as? I'd be more excited watching an underdog getting through to the latter stages of European football than yet again it's Real Madrid, yet again it's Man City, yet again it's PSG, yet again it's Barcelona, etc. Yeah, great, but you've seen it once, you've seen it twice, and you go. Ugh. Good evening, Graham. Hi from Canada. Just watching a few minutes during coffee break, and we'll watch the whole thing later on. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Zorba, I believe 2-0 win. You haven't told me where in Cyprus. Are you in Cyprus? Chris, Liverpool and United owners are the actual culprits on these UEFA changes. Always trying to make the league into an American sport they should keep away. PSG become a mouthpiece, but the more American owners take over Premier League clubs and other clubs possibly in Europe, the more likely this Super League will actually happen. Alistair, safe to Germany, everyone that's going. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Pete Gads, Cressy in any role where he can't get forward and sending across isn't worth him being out there. Good shout. Good shout. NC, we all want the Rangers. Yeah, you do. What do you? Because apparently German football fans don't like Leipzig. Is it Leipzig or Leipzig? However it's pronounced. You guys don't like that club, do you? So you'd want anyone rather than Leipzig. Howard, 1-4 on Thursday. We're massive. Or I'd like to think so, but Chris, the Athletic has become a very terrible application. I had to cancel my subscription. Always on an agenda. Very poor journal. Well, the Athletic are a mouthpiece for Man United more than anything else, And yet again, they also come up with stuff that's because they've been around for so long. People start to believe in what they say. And you're right, their journalism isn't really all that. Anthony, last time brought on Noble to take a penalty, he didn't score. That's very true. Beginning of the season, absolutely. Liverpool just scored. Oh, the Sable team. Oh dear. Parents from Pedulas. I don't know where that is, mate. My mum is from the mountains, Cacopetria. Hang on, 2-1 now. 2-1. Bugger, they just scored. Epic, good evening to you. UEFA should just ban American owners from European football and owners who certain other countries as well. You're living in Aldershot. You've let me down. Mandy, great show. Good luck on Thursday. Thank you very much, Mandy. Come on, you irons. And that is it. So I'm off tomorrow morning. Like I said, I'm meeting all my mates and we're going to make our way to Frankfurt. And I'll try. I'm not going to promise, but I will try and do a few short snippets throughout my time out there. Maybe a short video on the journey there, short video when we get there, short video, on the day of the game and all that sort of stuff, if I can. But they won't be live, because I've tried that and I just can't get a live signal, especially doing it on YouTube live. So there'll be short snippets, pre-recorded, and I'll upload them throughout the time. So do watch out for them. I won't be able to make you aware. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you're going to have to subscribe and hit the like button and all that in order to know when the show's going to go out. Anyway, thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you, Carino. Much appreciated for watching. Vinay, law of averages, West Ham will win on Thursday. Fingers crossed. P. Gads, this issue with Chelsea and Russia should be a wake-up call for all the foreign owners. Good point. Anthos, good evening to you, mate. Nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Daniela, if it's not surprising that the Super League is being pushed by the American owners, the home of franchise sport, the Scum Six need to be careful. A lot of games could end up being played in the USA. That's another thing. Yeah. They'll end up starting to ask for games to be played abroad. Pam, thank you for joining, Pam. Thanks. Good to hear you again. Much appreciated. I'm really glad you've found me on the channel. Anil, make it a cagey game or make it a basketball match. Moyes will make it. He might make it a cagey game, but I want him to go for it. I want him to go for it, to be quite honest with you. Anthos reckons it's going to be 3-1 in Germany on Thursday. Martin, did you recharge your phone? Thanks for tonight's show. Enjoy the game. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. Robert, thank you, mate. Please hit the like button before you go and subscribe. P. Gads, I can see England sanctioning Qatar and the Saudis before America. Will they? It's money. But they should. Howard, stay safe. Hammerette, enjoy yourself. Anyone else, be safe. I'm with you in spirit. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Thank you for saying that, Ian. Much appreciated. 3-1 to the Hammers, says Anil. David M., when will be your next review still? Well, they won't be until I get back. So, I kind of get back a bit later than I thought on Friday. So it probably won't be Friday. I might just do. We're going to Norwich on Sunday, so I'll try and squeeze in on something on Saturday, but I'm not going to promise. But like I say, look out for the short snippets I might put out while whilst I'm out in Frankfurt. But then I'll be back next Monday or Tuesday. Oh, they've equalised. Damn it. Thank you, Dom. Much appreciated. Thanks. No problem, mate. And thank you for the information. Yarmolenko will bring good luck. GP, cheers for the stream. Much appreciated. All of you have a great night. Look forward to Thursday. Cheer us on wherever you are, and it will be a fantastic night for us. See you all very soon.